Did the power go out? Check this. Okay, no it didn't. Power was out yesterday morning for about an hour. Power outages have been more frequent, but they don't last that long. About an hour. We're just crawling around nooks and crannies of the beach. We live in a beach town in Ecuador, somewhere between $1,000 to $1,200. Tell you what we won't have now is the extra expenses of having to go on vacation to Salinas when we used to live in the mountains. But perhaps we'll have that in reverse, where we'll go to Cuenca. You can see it's still really touristy here on the pier. There's boats now that take people for rides. I'm just happy to be living in a beach town on $1,000 to $1,200 a month, including the house that we have. And for it, I'll tell you, we
didn't come here and just got a house for $300.
No, it wasn't plug and play. It wasn't just show up and boom, bada bing, bada boom. None of it is. None of it is just show up. It's all sweat equity, effort, and work. I'm happy to report I'm enjoying every minute of it. I'm comfortable with it. I'm originally born and raised in poor southern Italy of the 60s and 70s.
Wasn't that a developing country?
Whatever, it was after World War II. That place was a great place to grow up. It was very peaceful at that time. As a boy, I would roam around in the streets without fear. It was pretty amazing.
Wow, it looks busy this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty packed.
See the new comment, hon?
No.
Somebody's asking how you pay your utilities. Do you use your ATM card, a check, MasterCard? How do you pay your utilities, and how do you, who do you pay them to?
Okay, guys, this is not I Live in the North America book. This is a different dimension. Nothing like that happens here. There's no paying utilities by check. There's no mailing a check to pay your utilities. None of that. This is a different dimension. The information it's particular to your situation. Remember I said this is a land of personal interaction.
No, gracias.
No, gracias. There's no standardized. I mean, there's sort of a little bit of this, some people do things this way and that kind of thing. But generally, you have to revert back to the particulars of your own personal situation, and you need to ask your own landlord about the utilities, because every rental setup is not 100% similar.
And he show the camera right here so people can see how busy it is.
Well, I was staining this in the dark last night. Looks like I didn't really get it very well. Actually, that kind of gives it a little bit of a rustic look, doesn't it? Yeah, it kind of does. Gives it that kind of old weathered look. Okay, that's not bad. And then I have to replace the fabric on this thing. I'm sure it didn't last long. And ripped in half. To figure out what kind of fabric to put on that. Alright, just a quiet, lazy Sunday morning. So I'm starting to figure out which stores have the best prices on certain items. And yeah, because some of the, if you just, you know, like we just showed up here and we started going to this store, that store, the prices were ridiculous. Like higher than Cuenca, and so we're starting to kind of branch out and figure out, okay, well, avocados are cheaper over in this store and this item is cheaper over there. And it's funny when the foreigners complain, oh, I don't have time for that, and it's always new foreigners, you know. Why come to a foreign country if you don't have time? I mean, to me, I make it enjoyable. It's something I do. You know, I go check out a different store, or I go to a different part of town. It's, you know, it adds variety to the day. So anyhow, we're starting to acclimate a little bit, little by little. So we've got some growing challenges. So yeah, the weather's pretty much fantastic. Not for gardening, but for just being outside. I'm not seeing a lot of bugs, or the mosquitoes, of course, come out at the regular mosquito hours, which is at dusk and probably dawn. So I just go inside at those hours. That, you know, that was they were coming out in the States too at those hours. So, and I just went inside. So yeah, people just they focus so much on what's in the news, you know, and I'm not concerned about things that are in the news, just because mosquitoes have always been around since probably creation. You know, you can't live in fear. The critical thinking aspect of something I hear on the news comes in when I hear some kind of fear-mongering thing about Zika virus, this and that. A lot of people like to talk about what's in the news. And the critical thinking aspect of it is that, well, for one thing, well, like in Cuenca, there were no mosquitoes. It's 8,300 feet. You have very few bugs. You had spiders and a few flies, and rarely saw a mosquito. I don't think I ever did see one. And then down here, this part of the coast is desert, and it hasn't rained in 3 weeks that I've been here. You know, this is the critical thinking part. Mosquitoes need water, and that's why mosquitoes come out at dusk and dawn, because the sun's not blaring hot. So, well, I don't know if that's why they do it, but that's when they come out and the sun's not hot. So I'm just saying that to me, even when I've lived in humid areas, I just go indoors during the what I call mosquito hour, and so I've never worried about it. One other aspect of critical thinking is one time we were watching the news, and there was all this fear-mongering about rice shortages. And my son came and talked to me about the rice shortages, and we went to the store, and I showed him the rack was full of rice, and I said, rice shortages. How much rice do you want today? You know, I'm not saying somewhere in the world there wasn't a rice shortage, you know, but is that something that affects, you know, us because you sit there and watch the news, you know? There's a lot of things on the news. That's one thing I really like about living abroad. I really don't pay too much attention to the news. I didn't pay attention to it before either, but I pay even less attention. I can get whatever news I want, if I want, obviously, on the internet. I don't have this fear of the latest scare, the bird flu, virus, this or that. So, critical thinking wins again, guys. Oh, hey, look who's here.